I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the Anishinaabeg, the Haudenosaunee, the Lenape-Pewauk, and the Kinongtung nations, whose traditional lands I am filming this video on. I acknowledge historical and ongoing injustices that Indigenous people endure in Canada, and I accept responsibility as an individual to contribute towards revealing and correcting miseducation as well as renewing respectful relationships with the Indigenous communities throughout the work that I produce.
Sorry. And I shouldn't wave. Don't wave to the camera.
That's right.
Sorry.
It's my show. You can do whatever you want.
Well, it's your show. You do whatever you want. I'll behave myself.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, State of the Arts London. Here we are. It's in my living room, and it's just cozy in here today. Welcome to the show, Maureen. Please introduce yourself to the people at home.
Hey, everybody. I'm Maureen Ann Tucker, and I'm a London-based writer of humor, short stories, poetry, grocery lists. You name it, I write it.
Well, there you go. That's and that's why we're here today, Maureen. Look, I've known you for a while now. I mean, I want to say 10 years kind of minimum. You and Ron. Ron was on a couple months ago. So, you know, I come see you at the camera show 2 times a year, which is wonderful. But that's not why we're here today.
Nope.
Maureen, we're here to talk about something completely different. What is going on in your life? What's going on?
Well, I can finally say I have been lucky enough to be one of the long list finalists for the 2026 CBC Short Story Prize.
Amazing.
I still can't say that without cracking up.
Yeah.
I should say it again like a writer. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a long lister.
A little bit of flourish.
Well, yes. And you just kind of want to sit here and say, oh, yes, I'm on the long list for the CBC Short Story Prize. But mostly I'm still in a bit of shock.
Yeah. What's the, what was that roller coaster like? I mean, did you... For the people who haven't heard this story kind of from, because I have, and it's really hard to do these interviews because we have talked about it, but did you submit it? Did somebody submit it for you? Where did that start for you?
It's really simple. They open the submissions, I think it was from September 1st to November 1st of last year.
Okay.
And it's so simple. It took me about 2 minutes. You just create an account, submit your story, and hit send.
Yeah.
And then you try not to think about it for how many months was that?
Yeah.
6 months. And then March the 10th at exactly 7:28 p.m., I'll never forget, I got a message saying, congratulations, you've made the long list for this year's prize. And so I had to submit a photo and answer a little questionnaire. They were making a little web page. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. And you don't hear another thing for 6 weeks, which was a bit crazy making. And I couldn't tell anybody. So I couldn't tell you the last time I saw you. I wanted to, but I was sworn to secrecy. When the CBC tells you to shut up, you shut up.
That's right. Well, it was interesting, too, because you told me, you told me about the secret. There was
a secret.
There was a thrum coming from I want to tell you.
Yep.
So you've been a writer now for a long time. So talk about your educational, because there was a gap between years, right? So we won't say
very nice way to say it.
Yeah, but COVID seems to have changed a lot of paths for a lot of different people. What was it that finally, for you, was like, you know what, I'm going to do this?
The time is now.
Yeah.
Well, I finished high school like a lot of people. I won't tell you the year, and I went off to broadcasting school. I was going to take over the world, and then life gets in the way, and I didn't really pursue education after that, and life goes on. And then suddenly it was what year was COVID again?
19 it started.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sitting in my house cooped up, and I'm thinking, I hope I don't get COVID, and if I do, I'm really going to regret a few things. Yeah. And top of the list was that I hadn't done more with my education, and that I hadn't done more with my writing. And I'd been writing, tooling around, I'd always had a story in the back of my mind, but life gets busy, right? Life gets lifey. Yeah. So I thought, well, maybe if I went to university, that will help me focus and help me concentrate. And I'll go take some writing classes, and they'll teach me to write good. Yes. And so I've been going for 3 years part-time, and I've taken pretty much every writing class that they would let me in. Mm-hmm. And now I'm sitting here with you. So careful what you wish for. Yeah.
Yeah. The process itself is very interesting to me. So I want to say this, and I want you to answer this as kind of delicately as you can. Was the education the catalyst that got you to write that story? Or was the story there and you just needed somebody to kick you in the pants and say, here, write this?
Both.
Yeah.
I was sitting in short story class about a year and a half ago, and the professor, who's a short story master, gave the assignment, your final piece for the year, and he said, anything you want, but it has to come from the gut. I want the real story. I don't want it pretty. I want it messy. I dare you, basically. And so I thought, well, I'm never going to have a better chance than this. And so the story just came out of me. And it's so, this always happens like this for me. I get a first line, or I get I can't describe it to you. I just know that I know what the story is. And then it comes to me over the next few days. This sounds so spacey. It comes to me like a movie trailer. And I kind of see the story. And then it's a race to the computer before it falls out, literally. And I just typed, and this is exactly what happened with this story, Vivian. I guess, as to answer your question, it had been welling up in me, and then it took form. And I wrote that story in 2 hours.
Okay.
And submitted it, and the teacher gave me some fantastic feedback, and I revised it again, and my fellow students, we sit and we critique each other's work in class.
Key.
And
very key. Loved it.
well, it is, and it was funny because I sit with a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds in my short story, or all my writing classes.
Yeah.
One of the young students said to me, this Monopoly game that you're talking about, that's like a board game, right?
Oh, ouch.
But their feedback, without all the heavy emotional trauma of childhood Monopoly games that we've all had, they had some excellent feedback for me. So, and then I got a good mark on it, and I thought, well, if the teacher likes it, what the hell?
Right.
Can I say hell?
Yes.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I'm just going to hit send and see what happens. So never dreamed I would be sitting here.
No.
Never dreamed anyone beside my husband and my professor would ever read that story. So it's a little bit cathartic in a way.
So that's the story itself. I don't want to harbor on the story because the story is important. It is what it is, but that's not why we're here today.
Oh, okay.
The story will be out. People can read it. I encourage they read it. I did get a chance to read it. I loved it. The Monopoly in question evoked a lot of visceral memories. It wasn't Monopoly in our house. It was Scrabble in our house. But it was still, that was that level of danger if you were playing it. Siblings? You have
I do. I have 5 older siblings, and they're much older. And we're a big competitive family. There was always a board game on the table. We grew up in Winnipeg, so I mean, in the winter it was board game season, or Risk. But Mom took the Risk board. We weren't allowed to play Risk after a certain year, but there was always a game on the table.
Yeah, we did that too, but it was cribbage was the family game, which was good. So the story itself comes from a very personal place. So is that where because in the interview with CTV, as I was watching it, your statement of head versus gut, and you had just said it.
Yeah.
What's the difference? You have to think, but for somebody who can't write,
Sure you can.
What is that?
I've written stories in the past that I want this to sound perfect, and I want it to sound good, and I want to sound like a writer. This one, it came out of me. I'd love to say I'm not the narrator, and those are not my siblings, and they are not amalgams of my siblings, but, I'm a youngest. And that came out, which was a huge surprise to me. So I think that was the gut part of it. I'd rather tell your story, not my story. Because if I'm telling your story, I can make it up. I can make up any fiction piece, of course. But this one kind of suddenly felt very real. And my first ending was a pretty ending. And everyone ended all well. It ends well. And we're all huggy-kissy. And my professor gave me the feedback. It's okay to mess the ending up. It's okay if all stories don't end on a happy note.
Have you ever read a Stephen King novel? That man is 5/8 building, and it just all collapses in the final act, and
That's
you
right.
read it anyways. And that's basically the only guy I do read. I read here and there, but it's just his crafting is all character stories, almost secondary sometimes. Who's your favorite author? Do you have a thing, or is it
Wayne Johnson, who's a Canadian he's just won the Leacock a couple of years ago, and he writes incredible family stories based in Newfoundland. I just love that. It made me go to Newfoundland just because I love his books so much.
Yeah.
I love F. Scott Fitzgerald. That, to me, is the ultimate short story reader or writer. And then grade 12, we read everything Fitzgerald, and I remember moaning to my grade 13 writing teacher that, well, I can't write like this. This guy's a genius. I can't write like this. And I never forgot it. He said, Maureen, you have the exact same dictionary. You have the same access to all the same words. And I thought, wow, that's no way. And I am not comparing myself to the great F. Scott Fitzgerald, but the economy of his word choice. I was never alive in the 20s, but I feel like I was. Like, wow, man, how do you do that? So I'm hoping that someday I could write a story 1/10 as good as anything he ever wrote. So heavily influenced by that.
Yeah. Explain to me, because you just said it, the economy of the story. That really triggered something. I think I know what it means.
It means, well, I had a 2,500 word limit on that assignment. So a short story is like a movie trailer, not a whole movie. So you have to get from here to there in as few short words as possible. And if the words in it doesn't serve the story, you don't need them. In a book, you got 40,000 words, go for it. But in a 2,000 or 2,500 word short story, you got to get to it. And everything you say about setting and character has to be evocative. You just can't waste any time. And that's hard. Yes. Very hard. And, can you say it in one sentence? We actually did exercises in writing class. How can you get your point across in as few words as possible? It's very hard to do.
Yeah. There's that. Did you watch Severance at all?
No.
There's a scene where there's a gentleman. It's not particularly uplifting, but there's a scene where he is forcing himself to bring his. He's very erudite and he speaks, but he has to bring it into this, and he's admonished for it. The story itself, during the edit process, because the only thing that I know of writing right now comes from my partner, and who's done the PhD, and she's wrote and edited. Through the process of what you're doing for that story, and say for other stories, do you recognize that there's more, or do you recognize that that's it? There's a story, and I'm done. Oh
no, I'm an overwriter.
Yeah,
I want to get it all out. So I'm afraid sometimes when I'm writing, if I don't get it out, I'll forget it. Something will come to me in the middle of the night, and I'll think, that would be awesome. But by 7:30, that's gone. I can't. I have a book now by my bed and a pen, so if I get up to feed the cat and something comes to me, I'll write it down because it's gone like that. But usually I'm an overwriter. However, in this story, I think my first draft was like 2,480 words. It was spooky.
Wow, okay.
Right, and then I looked at it. It was like a finished story came out of me. Of course, it took twists and turns, and there was another character that I completely cut off. That's so fun about being able to kill off a character if you don't need them. But I looked at it and said, what does this story not need? And that's, again, that economy, right? If I don't need it, get it out. I don't want the reader to go off on some tangent. I have a secret and a surprise for them, and I want to get to it. And there is a little bit of a secret in this. Well, I don't know in this story if there's a secret, but there's a twist, and you meet a new character in the last paragraph. And I don't want to telegraph that to people, and I don't want to distract you with superfluous siblings. I have a sister that's not in the story, and she jokingly said, am I not in it? And I was like, no, I only had 2,500 words. I couldn't put you in it. Next time I'll write that story.
Yeah, there is another story for you, sister.
There wasn't room for all of the madness.
Decent family feedback? Or was it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, and people... I've been a little brat all my life. I'm the youngest, and I was full of stories. Oh, it's true. It's true, and I've been full of stories, and I was a weird little kid, and I would come up with stories, and I would write songs and write commercials and write TV shows in my little world that I lived in. So I don't think any of them were surprised that I am a bit of a storyteller. And the whole going back to school thing, they've just been so supportive because it's something I've wanted. So they were happy for me. And they find it hysterical that I have homework to do and exams, and I have all this reading to do, and I take it very seriously.
Yeah. Well, look, if you're paying for an education, you probably should take it seriously.
Nick, you get that. It's so funny. If I were 18 and in school, I would be blowing it off. I would have had a party every week. I would have just gone bonkers. And it's funny when you're paying for it, and it's something that you asked for during the heat of exams last week. I'm like, Maureen, you asked for this. But then when you have good results, or you succeed, or you get something out of it, it just feels so much more everything. It's just been great.
Yeah, I did this kind of the same thing. I went back 15 years ago for photography, and kids in the class, children in the class, they're all friends, and I love them all dearly.
Love
they're
them
all
all,
awesome,
yes.
but like young kids, and to see, I showed up every day. I was like sitting in the front, and everybody's sauntering in. Maybe they did their assignment, and the first time I got a 90.
I know.
I kind of told all my old teachers, see? But
yeah, I wish my parents were alive to see this, because they wouldn't believe it. I was a kid that squeaked out of high school. I got A+ in all my English classes and 51s in everything else, and they would find this hysterically funny. My mom was a librarian. She would love this.
Yes. Yeah. Moving forward, now that you've in the running and people recognize that you are a decent writer, what's next now that wasn't next 2 months ago?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
Well, in October when I submitted the story and I hit send, I thought, okay, universe, if you think I should keep writing, I want you to send me a sign. This seems like a sign. It seems like a sign, and my head is so full of stories. Oh my goodness! Everywhere I go, I see a story, and so I think this is a sign that I'm not getting any younger. And if there are stories in there that need to get out, I need to let them out as soon as possible. And I'm going back to school in September. I don't know what I'll be taking, but I need to. Whatever I'm doing, I should keep doing. And if someday I end up being a great writer, great. And if someday I just enjoy it, great. It's win-win.
Yeah.
And the good news is you can be this age and become a writer.
Yes.
You know, if I wanted to become a lumberjack, I probably can't do it now. But I can become a writer any day I decide it. Yeah. So I decided it March the 10th at 7:28 p.m. When I saw that email, I thought, okay, maybe. So this has just been... I wish you could have been in my head. That in that moment, it was just the best thing ever, and scary. Yeah. And exciting and thrilling. And
nobody can critique your stuff if the stuff isn't out, right?
Right.
So the second that somebody says, "Look, everybody, here's somebody. Look at their stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yep.
That's all right. I'm telling myself now, well, you know, if very few people have actually read the story, because only the first paragraph has been posted on the CBC Books website. But there could be a moment where more people read it and they'll have an opinion. And then, well, they'll have an opinion.
Yeah. Well, look, it's a wonderful story. And like I said, it does evoke a lot of emotions. And I really don't see there being too much pitchforks. You know what I mean?
I hope not.
So it's amazing to get that feedback. How sometimes you would just die for some feedback. I was in a show once. I played the wizard, and the review of the show, I wasn't even mentioned. It was the Wizard of Oz, and I was I'd rather a bad review. Right. You were so unnoticeable that I didn't even see you on stage. Yeah. So not to commiserate, but like that's where you've got this people coming at you now, where you've got people looking at your stuff, and it's a matter of being able to take that feedback and using it, right? Right. And not hiding from it, I guess, is the, your critiques from your classmates, again, in photography was immeasurable, because they were a little too harsh, but it worked, right? And
so true.
Made you a better photographer, made you a better writer, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Just to follow up, final question here, just to kind of round it off. Do you think you're going to continue with the short stories, or do you have anything long form?
Only shorts.
Yeah.
I don't think that this brain could settle down to write a novel.
Yeah.
I think that's just asking this brain for too much.
Yeah.
And the stories come to me in these little trailers. If that should change and suddenly I was seeing the whole movie in my head, maybe. But right now it's so much fun to put on the coat of a story for a while and then put it off and put on another one.
Yeah.
And so that's been really fun as I've learned what kind of a voice I want to have.
Yeah.
And the stories, I remember my professor saying to me when he assigned us this final story that Vivian came out of that assignment, write a story as if that was, your brand. Who do you want to be as a writer? What's your voice?
Okay.
I don't want to hear a story come from any other voice. I want that story to come from you. And he said, and I'll know. I'll know. You can tell when a writer's inauthentic.
Yes.
So he said, go there. And if it feels kind of icky and gross, you're in the right neighborhood. So that's how I want to do it. And I've got a lot of these kind of stories in me. I was lucky enough to grow up in the 70s and 80s. That's a lot of good stuff happened then. You maybe weren't born yet, but
73. So like
73.
80, 90 would be kind of,
And I came from a big family, so there's a story in every kid.
And Winnipeg. So
yes, that's right. Yeah. And growing up in a small town, lots of stories. So I can see this, and I'm going to challenge myself to write when I don't feel like it. And to write the story that feels like maybe it's not quite there yet. I really want to start doing this, and I have no reason to not.
Yeah.
So here's hoping.
The one reason I always bring up Stephen King is that the wonderful things that he does in his books is that he's got a foreword and an afterword, and he always talks about archives that he goes through. Have you gone through any of your old notebooks and found anything that you went, oh, this is pretty good, or have you improved such in your writing that the old stuff is no good?
Old stuff, no good. But old stuff, I'm trying to be Fitzgerald. That's why nothing was good before, because I was trying to echo the great stories that I've read and trying to be someone else. Since I got to university, the stories have been more authentic, and I started keeping notebooks the week I went to university. And I've got one in my purse right now. And if you say something really good today, Mick, I'm going to write it down probably and maybe use it as a character later. And sometimes when I'm writing and I'm working on a character and I need them to do or say something quirky or interesting, I'll whip out one of my books and I'll remember. The other day we were in a restaurant and there was a lady who kept sending everything back. And I watched her, and I thought, that'd be a neat character quirk someday if I have a lady that's a little fussy about things, maybe, that she's the type of lady who would send things back in a restaurant 3 times. So I'm like a magpie. If I see a good idea, I'm not above stealing it. I'll steal any good idea except another writer's words.
Of course,
the world is rife with stories everywhere you look.
Yes.
And that's a new way to look at the world that, 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't have, so...
Excellent. Yeah. I'm glad. Any shout outs to your favorite professor?
Or, gosh.
Wow. Or is that playing favorites?
I may have him again next term, so maybe I'll just say I have every Western professor I've come in contact with has tried to make me a better writer. And as a mature student, they call me non-traditionally aged, actually. Yeah. They have treated me no differently.
Yeah.
And that has given me a forum to bring myself to class as myself and sit there and make this writer a better writer if possible. I've got so much to learn. It is so hard. Writing, it's hard, man.
It is.
Anyone can write, but it's...
You say that, but...
Well, finding your voice, figuring out who you are and telling your stories your way, that's a lifetime process. It could take me the rest of my life. And every professor that I've run into has helped me get that. And the young writers that I sit with... bless their hearts, their energy and their belief that their writing can change the world and the way they are expressing themselves. So they are fearless. Yeah. They just go for it. And that has been such an inspiration.
Yeah. And you never want to be that person to be like, no, you just, no, please do what you need to do.
Do you remember when you're 18 and you think you can help the world and fix the world and you believe that your voice is so powerful? I mean, I don't know where we lose that along the way. Yeah. They're amazing. And my husband's been a huge help to me too. If I can shout him out, he's had to live with this brain for almost 40 years. But the last 6 weeks, I've been all over the place. I've been so grateful. This is just the coolest thing ever. And I'm trying to not click on the competition and see how many things they've had published. I'm trying to not think too far ahead
Comparison is the devil. Yeah.
Well, you know, and there are some fantastic writers in Canada. I don't think Canada knows this. And there are some people on that long list that I've heard of.
Yeah.
And to be included in that number is just unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Well, I can't wait to finally actually see the list and to see kind of who else is out there and what's going on. And this won't air until, I want to say, May 15th, 16th.
Oh.
So we'll know by then. So I'll add an addendum.
Okay. Yeah,
maybe we'll...
short list is next Thursday, the 30th at exactly 9 a.m. or maybe not exactly 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And then they're going to announce 5 people who've made the short list. And then 1 week later, another Thursday morning, they'll announce the winner.
Excellent.
So...
TikTok on the clock.
Well... you know what they say, well, at the Academy Awards, they'll ask the people and they'll say, well, it's an honor just to be nominated. And you know damn well that they don't mean it. I actually do.
Yeah.
We're already in dream time. This is for a little second year from Western who sits in the back of the class with her little purple hoodie on. This is pretty cool.
Yes. Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you
for sharing that, Maureen. I appreciate that very much. And Ron, keep care of her. She's a good writer. You'll do well to make sure to foster that as you have. That'll probably be cut out anyways. But so thank you for showing up. And look, good luck, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we'll have you on the other side.
Okay, I'm gonna write a story about you, Mick.
Good. Just make sure he's got hair. That's all.
I will.
That's good. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month, folks.